And gentlemen, to another episode. This is your first time. Please like the video and subscribe. I want to talk about Charlie Kirk. This situation happened last week. Him losing his life, and I never really commented on it because I didn't really know of him. I knew of him, but I really didn't know too much about his life. I knew he liked to go on campuses and debate students about certain issues. I know he was deep into God and he loved his country, and he believed in stressing the importance of family. I knew that much of him. But as to his life, I know now because everything's coming out now that he's passed away. But I never looked at him as a controversial figure. Even when people play a little excerpt of things that people say that he might be racist or real disrespectful, you only get a little small segment of what he said. But once someone plays the whole segment, you get an idea of what he was saying. People just pick and choose certain portions of his speech and conclude that he's a racist, misogynistic, or just whatever narrative they want to paint of him, and they run with it without even getting to know the man. Um, and people, you've seen people's true color, how people respond, how they act in a situation what happened with this man. I mean, some of the responses that I'm pretty sure everyone's seen people gloating and happy, clapping, rejoicing in the man's death. And he wasn't even a controversial figure. He had no power to do anything to anybody's life but give you information and help you. He wasn't a politician yet, but I'm pretty sure he was leaning toward that. He's a very smart individual, very knowledgeable, somebody you can learn something from. And people like Officer Tatum, Candace Owens, people who knew him speak highly of the man. So we're supposed to take the advice or the opinion of people who just take certain aspects of conversation and come up to the conclusion of who this person is instead of taking the advice from people who actually knew the man. I mean, it's a travesty. I mean, it's an embarrassment to show how far off, far away from God that this country is. I mean, I've never seen anyone rejoice the death of an individual like I've been seeing from some people on the left, some of the liberals. And like this pastor right here, I'm about to show you. I mean, all he had to do is say what he had to say about the man, say he didn't deserve to die, and go on with his sermon. But he had to go on and do what a lot of pastors do, who's supposed to be leaders, followers of God, preachers of God. And I think this guy just went a little too far.
Charlie Kirk did not deserve to be assassinated. But I'm overwhelmed seeing the flags of the United States of America at half staff, calling this nation to honor and venerate a man who was an unapologetic racist and spent all of his life sowing seeds of division and hate into this land.
I'll tell you something. I don't even think black people know what a true racist is. And I've noticed, like, just with people I'm around constantly, they'll turn anybody into a racist. If the narrative fit, they will make anybody a racist. It doesn't matter. And once that get into a person's head, that person, a group of people, they will always be racist. I mean, if you disagree with, I'm going to use black people as an example because that's what I can go off of because that's what I experienced from. Um, Even some white groups, a lot of white are liberal too. But once you've been labeled a racist, regardless of if you are or not, you're gonna be a racist, and there's nothing you can do to change a person's mind. They will label you a racist without all the facts, without all the information. They'll take half the sentence if you disagree with them. If you agree with this common logic stuff, just like just like what was the big topic um, about allowing kids to change their sex at a young age when they're not even old enough to drive, cook for themselves. situation. That's common sense. How many genders there are. I mean, that's common sense. But if you tell a lib that there's less than two, you're racist, um, anti-gay, just whatever the narrative is. I mean, these past couple of years has been just terrible. I would never have a open conversation with a liberal because two things gonna happen. I'm gonna get cussed out. There's gonna be an argument, and they're not gonna listen. And they probably won't be able to get a word in. And I'm talking from experience. This guy don't even know Charlie Kirk, probably. And have you ever noticed how easily riled up black people are? I bet half those people in that audience just recently found out about Charlie Kirk, and they're easily roused, easily bandwagon follower. As long they just want to be a part of something. A lot of people are just followers in this world. Once I started to stand on my own 2 feet and not listen to other people, make my own decisions, and branch out on my own, then things became a lot clearer to me in life. And I was able to see people for who they truly are and what they stand for. And just listen to people. All you gotta do is listen to people. They tell you everything you want to know. I can definitely tell you Charlie Kirk wasn't a racist, just from what I've observed from him.
And hearing people with selective rage who are mad about Charlie Kirk but didn't give a damn about Melissa Hortman and her husband when they were shot down in their home tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. I am sorry, but there's nowhere in Bible where we are taught to honor evil. And how you die does not redeem how you lived. You do not become a hero in your death when you are a weapon of the enemy in your life.
That's the thing about when you know the truth. When you become aware of the truth and you listen to stuff like this, basically anything in life, you tend just not to even speak on it. You just sit and listen, observe, take it, and go on about it. That's what I do. Because knowing the truth and knowing the ignorance of people trying to speak on the truth when they know it's not true, I mean, it's not even worth even talking about. These people killed the guy who gave them a voice. Most politicians are going to let you speak your voice, give you a chance to speak without embarrassing you and talking down on you. Charlie Kirk never, at the end of all his debates, he came back and tried to make peace with everybody. Wanted them to become closer to God. I mean, if a person wants you, trying to help you and want to become closer to God, there's nothing better out there. I mean, most of us will want everybody to become closer to God. If you're a believer, in my opinion. And this guy's supposed to be a pastor. This speech shouldn't even made it to this far. And like I said, all he doing is riling people up. And he knew he was going to get the response from people because they're liberals.
I can abhor the violence that took your life, but I don't have to celebrate how you chose to live.
I'm trying to figure out, how did he live? This man was happy, very successful, very knowledgeable, very transparent. These people, I just can't deal with them. I try to stay as far away from liberals as I can. I used to be one of them, but I wasn't radical and closed-minded. One thing about myself, I always listen. That's why I switched this time, because main thing of reason why I switched to the Republican is because simply nothing was working for us under the Democratic Party. So whether I like Trump or not, I was willing to try something new, anything different. That's a basic common sense. If something's not working consistently, try something new, whether you like it or not.
I am overwhelmed.
And this is why Black people never get anywhere, because your leaders are the one leading you astray. They're not talking to you in a sensible and rational way about this. And I'm using this case for example. There's many other cases. This is basically everything in life. I hate the Democratic Party. Now I think back over all the years, and I know when people are telling a lie. You can listen to them. That's the thing about a lot of Black people. They can't tell when a person telling you a lie. When Barack Obama was running for president, after I heard him speak the first time, I knew he was just lying. He has a knack. There's a way of telling people something without telling them. Just like when Barack Obama was running for president, he would tell all these big audiences, especially mainly Black people, that you deserve a car, you deserve a house. But what they heard is that he's going to buy him a house and he's going to buy him a car and he's going to give him money. But he never said that. But you can say it in a way to make people believe that. And that got him elected. And plus being Black, but hey, that's life. That's the country we live in. I think we on a downward spin right now. It's terrible. And this isn't the only guy. I've seen videos of plenty of pastors going out preaching this rhetoric, getting people riled up, unashamed. And I know it, and I know it spreads too, because my wife came home and she's the one who told me that Charlie Kirk had been shot. She doesn't even know I know she doesn't know who Charlie Kirk was. And but we talked on the phone and she told me about it. And I looked it up and saw that he was shot. And I'm surprised the actual video was on Bookface. And I'm like, Bookface hardly ever show anything that graphic, but it was there. Most of you see from them a bunch of Black people fighting all the time. You can always find that. But when she came home, we was talking about it, and by this time he had already passed. And my wife said to me, "People said he was a racist." I'm like, so I had to explain to her who he was, what was he about, and why people refer to him as being a racist. And I told her once, and then I left it alone because people she'll be around. I know my wife. My wife's not really big into politics, but she'll come home and say something that I know she didn't come up with herself. That's why I hate people talk politics around my wife. But I'm glad she come home and talk to me about it. So not that I know everything, but I know some things. And I explained to her the situation. Like I said, for example, this one, the man wasn't a racist. He just misunderstood by some. And some people just wanted to misunderstand what he was saying. But the thing that really struck Black people the most is when he said something about the problem with the Black community is that there are no fathers in the household, which is true. People been saying that for years. But I guess they didn't like when a white guy said, but when he said it. But that's my opinion on that. I really hate for this young. Have you ever noticed that it's the people who have something going in their life, positive, trying to help others, those are the ones that get eradicated? And a person has been out here to lead people all their life, they still here, prospering in life, wealthy. I try not to ask that question, but I used to wonder. I'm like, we all are sinners. And I try to live a good life. And I'm looking at people who I know who's just out there doing ratchet and trifling things, who are very successful, money, a lot of material things, which aren't important, but they can put a smile on your face. And I see how they living, and they prospering. And I have always wanted to ask that question, but I know better than to ask that question. But it is something to think about. It is something to think about. Anyway, I'm talking way too long about this situation. I pray for his family and his kids. I think the worst thing about this, I mean, I ain't gonna say it's the worst thing, but it's just one little guy. It's one guy on the campus who disagreed with someone and just did this terrible act. Now, it would have been a different thing. It turned out it was some conspiracy. There were several people involved. It's a planned situation where they saw an opportunity of him coming to this campus, and there's an organized group who did this to him. I then we'll have a real big problem because it's organized. But it seemed like from everything that transpired, that it's just one guy who decided to go do this horrific act. And at first, I was wondering about the shot. Would it take an expert to make a shot like that? But then I realized no, because I watch this woman on YouTube all the time. This tall blonde, she go to the range all the time, hitting shots from 200 and 300 yards out. So it's not impossible to do if you go and train constantly. But I'm gonna leave it right there. I mean, let me know what you think. I really appreciate you if you like the video and subscribe to the channel, and comment in the comment section. Some things you might want me to look up and some things you want to talk about. I'm open to it. But anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.